So I was going to include this little passage in this book that I was writing about masculinity in the Western world and how patriarchy has kind of just like put its hands so deep in what masculinity could be. It's left us without any... I'll save that for the book when I present that to you guys. But there's a passage towards the end where I include a theory. I'm not sure if you add this in like an epilogue or something. I still got more videos to watch about book writing. But I have this theory that there's, you know, that 4B movement that seems like it kind of just started and kind of went away nowhere a couple months ago? One, it didn't go nowhere. That was a seed that was planted. And now we're in that phase where we're just watching it sit underneath the soil. What I think that seed is supposed to turn into is that there's going to be a mass migration. Mind you, let me add this side note in here. There's an article I just saw. I'm not sure if it was the New York Times or Wall Street Journal that's talking about women leaving in the masses away from the church. One, the reason why I believe that is because it's just automatic demonization from the root origin story of human history, demonization of the feminine and the divine feminine, and rejection of the feminine in favor of immediate eternal servitude to the masculine. And with women understanding how complex they are and how much more infinite they are beyond this like hyper patriarchal psychosis and spiritual cult, something in me knows, like not even believes, knows that there's going to be a mass migration of women leaving the United States in the next 25 years. So I'm not trying to fearmonger at all. I'm just saying, if you're a woman, stack your bread up. Stack your bread up. That's all I'm saying. Stack your bread up. But it's the way that America has lined itself up, especially for this election. I'm even seeing the president doesn't matter. There is something that is pushing itself through. Call it Project 2025, call it APAC, whatever it is. There is something pushing through that is trying to make America Britain Part 2. In the sense that is trying to give the powers above the American government absolute power. And that will revert us back to an America like pre-1900s. And think about how many people were considered human beings before then. Back to the theory. The reason why there's going to be a mass migration of women, and mind you, I don't know if it's going to be led by white women, because I think white women would just lead women in the direction of like a white Jesus women instead of like a black woman Jesus. We have a video on the YouTube, or I have a video on the YouTube about that if you want to watch, about the black woman is God. But back to the point, what I'm trying to say, when the women leave this patriarchal psychosis in like a spiritual sense and they start moving into like feminine collectives, this is going to turn in the pioneering of modern day matriarchal societies. And if there's some kind of funding, some kind of source that is backs that, especially if there's like masculine presence, that, and I'm not saying that like it has to be backed by masculine presence, I'm just saying that if there are masculines who are able to also free themselves from patriarchal psychosis to submit to this mission that is moving towards, or at least creating a space for matriarchal societies to exist and contribute from their unique angle to this world collective that we all exist in, I'm telling you, you're gonna see us like such a radically different side of human history. It's going to be absolutely insane. But the current spiritual system and the dominant religion of today's society has to convince us, hey, guys, you know why the whole world's so shitty right now? It's not because rich people are hoarding all the wealth and abundance and resource and forcing everybody to be codependent on them for salvation. It's because Jesus is coming back. It's because Jesus is coming back to save all of you guys from billionaires. And we continue to fall into this trap of external salvation. But it's the stories, the lies, are being fed to us by the same people who are obstructing us from being able to fully actualize ourselves in this reality that we live in right now. And they're telling us our struggling is because we're struggling so we can have access to eternal freedom after this life. But that's after we've sacrificed this whole entire life, right? Like, if you're an intellectual person, if you're a marginalized person, if you're a woman, if you like, please understand that your intellect and your brain has the capacity to see beyond a reality than the the leading demographic in this world. And you need to put some validation to that, and that comes from the inside. But there's going to be a huge shift. And I don't want to, like, again, I'm not trying to fearmonger or nothing, but Christian nationalism is that's going to be the thing that, like, makes permanent not just wealth inequality, but like this like oligarchy, or just like this, almost like this American monarchy. That is what it's going to be used for, just to find some kind of spiritual backing that allows powerful people absolute power. Because, like, somebody who's greater than all of us and, like, created all of us told us it's okay for these guys to just absolutely abuse the shit out of us, but they're human beings and we're human beings. So when people get tired of that, bro, especially, let's just see how this turns out. Let's just see if I'm right. And actually, I want to add a little bit to this. If I'm right and America is left with those fake cosplaying trad wives, the patriarchal submitting women, like the self-hating women, and the men who are not only consequenced of the bastardized patriarchy that we live under right now, but the boys who were raised under the conditions of video games, high processed, high sugar foods, poor sleep, and like corn, and individualism and self-hatred to self-improvement. Like, if that's the only people left in this society, oh, and like the country people who like just hate all marginalized people, but like don't realize their freedom is built on the backs of these marginalized people. If that's what this country we call America is left with, just stack your bread up. If you're a woman, stack your bread up and get ready to move. I don't know how long it's going to be, but